That night, I understood that a wedding could actually destroy two families. My name is Frida Jackson, and I'm 55 years old. I'm a mother of 3, but this story is about my oldest son, Toto. The day of his wedding should have been the happiest day of his life. It wasn't. I still remember the scent of lilies in the church, the white lights hanging from the ceiling, the guests smiling. Toto waited at the altar in that navy blue suit he loved so much. He was nervous but happy. I was happy too until the moment came for the toast. The bride's father, Mr. Humphrey Sterling, took the microphone. He was a hefty man with a deep voice, the owner of a major construction company. Everyone knew him. Everyone respected him, or so they thought. He raised his champagne flute and said, "I want to toast my daughter Sophia. She's always been stubborn, even as a kid. And today she insisted on marrying this young man." There were nervous laughs. Then he added, looking directly at Toto, "That boy is an idiot." The room erupted in laughter, but I saw my son's face. He turned pale, his hands trembled, and he lowered his gaze. I felt my own legs give out from under me. No one else seemed to notice. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was toasting as if humiliating a man at his own wedding was funny. I clenched my napkin in my hands, took a deep breath, and knew something right then and there. This man wasn't going to get away with it because I knew things. Things he thought nobody knew. And that night, I was going to reveal everything. But before I tell you what I did, let me tell you how I got there. Because this story didn't start at that wedding. It started months earlier when something inside me told me, "Frida, investigate that man." And I did. What I discovered destroyed his entire family. When Toto told me he'd met a girl, I was thrilled. It was January, and it was freezing outside. We were in my kitchen drinking spiced coffee like we did every afternoon. "Mom, her name is Sophia," he told me with that shy smile he'd had since he was a boy. "She's different. She's smart, and she makes me laugh." I watched him. Toto was 28. He worked as a civil engineer at a small but honest firm. He was my oldest son, the most serious, the most responsible. He had never talked to me about a girl like that before. "And what does she do?" I asked, stirring my coffee. "She's studying architecture. She's about to finish her degree. Her dad owns a big construction firm, Sterling and Associates." That's when something inside me shifted. Sterling? The last name sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. "Have you gotten to know her well?" I asked. "Yeah, Mom. We've been seeing each other for 3 months. I want you to meet her. Can I bring her over for dinner Sunday?" I agreed, of course. A mother always wants to see her children happy. And Toto looked happy. That Sunday, Sophia arrived. She was pretty, long dark hair, big eyes. She dressed simply, but with class. She greeted me respectfully. "Mrs. Jackson," she said in a soft voice. "Thank you so much for having me over. I prepared chicken and rice, my specialty." Toto was nervous, but Sophia helped set the table. We talked. She told me about her career, about her dreams. She wanted to design sustainable, affordable houses for families. I liked her, but when she mentioned her father, something shifted in her voice. "My dad is demanding," she said, moving the food around on her plate. "He's always wanted me to be perfect, to get the best grades, to marry someone on his level." "And what does he think of Toto?" I asked, pouring her more water. Sophia looked down. "I haven't told him we're dating yet." Toto gave her a surprised look. "Sophia, come on." "It's just," she sighed. "My dad is complicated. He always says men have to prove their worth, that he doesn't trust anyone who doesn't come from a family with money." I felt a knot in my stomach. "Toto comes from an honest family," I said firmly. "Hardworking, with values. That's worth more than any money." Sophia looked at me with teary eyes. "I know, Mrs. Jackson. That's why I love him." Toto took her hand. I smiled, but inside something was unsettling me. That man, Humphrey Sterling, sounded like someone difficult, someone who judged people by their bank account. And I knew that type of man. I had seen them all my life. They always hide something. Months passed. Toto and Sophia became an official couple. He was in love, radiant, coming home singing. "Mom, Sophia understands me. She respects me. She doesn't care that I don't have a new car or that I live in a rented apartment. She says the important thing is building something together." I nodded but kept thinking about her father. One day, Toto came home looking serious. Mom, I have to tell you something. We sat in the living room. It was raining outside. I'm going to propose to Sophia. I felt a mixture of joy and fear. Have you met his family yet? Yes. I went to their house for dinner 2 weeks ago. And how did it go? Toto hesitated. Her dad, Mr. Sterling, is odd. Mom, he asked me a lot of questions about my job, my salary, my plans. He asked how much I made a month, how much I had saved, and if I owned property. And what did you tell him? The truth. That I earn enough, that I'm saving, that I don't own a house yet, but I work hard. And what did he say? Toto clenched his fists. He said, Well, son, I hope you know my daughter is accustomed to a certain standard of living. Not just anyone can support her. I felt anger, but I held it in. And Sophia, what did she say? She got mad at him. She told him I was a good man, and that was the only thing that mattered. Mr. Sterling just laughed and said, We'll see about that. I couldn't sleep that night. Something about that man bothered me deeply. It wasn't just his arrogance. It was something more, something I couldn't see yet, but I was going to find out. Toto proposed to Sophia in April. She said yes. They cried together. He called me excited. Mom, she said yes. We're getting married. I was truly happy. But that same night, alone in my room, I looked out the window and thought, that man is going to try to ruin this. I know it. And I was right. 2 weeks later, Sophia came to see me. She was crying. Mrs. Jackson, my dad says he doesn't want me to marry Toto. I sat down with her, served her chamomile tea, and held her hands. Why? He says Toto has no future, that he's mediocre, that he'll make me unhappy, that I'll regret it. And what do you think? I love Toto, but my dad is so stubborn, and my mom always does what he says. I'm afraid they won't stand by me. I squeezed her hands. Sophia, listen to me closely. True love doesn't surrender to fear. If you love my son, fight for him. And if your father doesn't accept it, that's his problem, not yours. She nodded, wiping her tears. You're right. I'm going to fight. And she did. Sophia confronted her father. She told him she was going to marry Toto with or without his blessing. Mr. Sterling had no choice but to accept, but I knew a man like that never accepts defeat. The wedding preparations began. Toto was happy. Sophia was too. But Mr. Sterling imposed conditions. I want the wedding at the country club event hall, he told Sophia. I'll pay for everything, but it's going to be done my way. Toto wasn't comfortable with that. Mom, I want to pay my part. I don't like depending on him. I know, son, but sometimes you have to compromise for Sophia. And he compromised. But I didn't compromise, because something inside me was saying that man was hiding something big, something dark. And one afternoon while I was having coffee at a cafe downtown, I saw something that chilled me to the bone. I saw Humphrey Sterling with another woman and 2 small children. The woman kissed him on the mouth. The children called him Dad. I froze. I paid my check, left, walked to my car, sat down, took a breath, and then I knew what I had to do. I was going to investigate that man, because if he was deceiving his wife and family, then my son was about to enter a family built on lies, and I wasn't going to allow it. I hired a private investigator named Roy Mendez. A week later, he called me to his office. Mrs. Jackson, he said seriously, turning his computer screen toward me. Humphrey Sterling has 2 families. Photos showed him with a woman, Veronica Campos, and her children. He's been diverting company money for years to support them. But that's not all. Roy opened a folder. The company, Sterling and Associates, is on the verge of bankruptcy. He has debts, labor lawsuits, and there are criminal complaints for fraud related to an unfinished housing project. Families lost their savings. He owes millions. I sat in silence, looking at the proof. A liar, a thief, a fraud. My son was about to marry his daughter. What are you going to do? Roy asked. I took the copies of everything. I'm going to wait, I said. I'm going to that wedding. And if Mr. Sterling dares to humiliate my son again, then I'm going to reveal everything in public. The following weeks were torture. I carried the secret like a stone. I told no one, not even Toto. I had to protect him, but I also had to be ready. The wedding day arrived. The ceremony was beautiful. Sophia was radiant. At the reception, everything was elegant. Then came the toasts. Mr. Sterling took the microphone. After some condescending words about Sophia's stubbornness, he looked directly at my son and said, "That boy is an idiot." The room laughed. My son's face shattered. And that's when I stood up. My legs shook, but I walked to the stage and took the microphone from his hands. "Excuse me, Mr. Sterling, but now it's my turn to speak." The hall fell silent. 200 faces stared at me. My name is Frida Jackson. I am Toto's mother. A few minutes ago, Mr. Sterling called my son an idiot in front of all of you. My son is not an idiot. He is an honest, upright man. But you, Mr. Sterling, you don't know what it is to be a real man. I dare say this because I have proof. I pulled the documents from my purse. Humphrey Sterling has 2 families. A wife here, and another woman, Veronica Campos, with whom he has 2 children. Gasps filled the room. Mrs. Sterling covered her mouth. He pays for it all with money stolen from his own company, which is bankrupt. He took millions from families for homes he never built. There are lawsuits. There is an investigation. He is not a successful man. He is a fraud. I held the photos high. Chaos erupted. Mr. Sterling yelled that I was crazy, but the proof was passed hand to hand. The wedding was over. The truth was out. In the aftermath, everything shattered. Toto didn't speak to me for months, hurt and angry that I'd ruined his day. Sophia was devastated by her father's betrayal. Mrs. Sterling filed for divorce. Mr. Sterling was eventually arrested and sentenced to prison. It took time, so much time for healing. Toto, after the anger faded, came to understand. Sophia found strength she never knew she had. They rebuilt their relationship on a foundation of brutal honesty. A year later, they had a small, simple ceremony with only those who truly loved them. They now have a beautiful son and another child on the way. I learned that justice isn't about vengeance. It's about balance. Humphrey Sterling sowed lies and reaped solitude. I chose truth, and though it cost me dearly, my son's trust for a season, the peace of that day, it ultimately gave us back something real. A family built on honesty, a legacy of courage. That night at the wedding, I didn't just reveal a secret. I set us all free from a lie. And in the end, that is the only foundation on which true love and a true family can ever be built.